Well, trigger warnings, do they help or hurt students? That's on the mind of Father David Ross with us today. He read an article from the Wall Street Journal, and thanks for coming today.
Thank you. Well, I found this interesting because in my work, I don't give too many trigger warnings, you know. When you have to do what I have to do, you try to present reality. I say to people, my role is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So, you know, some people don't like that. But I found this article very interesting by Emily Burrow. Trigger warnings are statements that meant to prepare audiences, especially people who suffer some sort of trauma like sexual abuse or child abuse or sexual assault or racism, to prepare them on subjects that they might find disturbing. And so college students began demanding these around a decade ago. So before a professor, for example, will talk about a particular topic, well, you'll see them on television all the time, don't you? You may be disturbed by this particular program or something like that.
Be careful because of the video.
In 2016, an NPR poll found that there were 800 college teachers who were using them back then, and by 2020, there were 800 academics talked about the fact that they were experiencing a lot of student complaints because trigger warnings weren't really beneficial for them. They were beneficial and they weren't receiving them. So advocates will say that trigger warnings make the experience in college far more inclusive and it can reduce anxiety. Critics say they should be, at least in the college level, in the business of expanding minds and bringing reality to people. So the studies show that they're really not doing anything right now. The trigger warnings aren't helping, and in fact, they could be hurting for this reason. What they tend to do oftentimes is reduce the child, the student in this case, from reduce that person to a more childish experience because they're not allowing that student to be able to accommodate to reality. They're not being helpful in terms of introducing that student or that person, that child or whatever it may be, to the broader perspective of the real world. I mean, I try to think in my work. I was talking about this a little earlier today with the students at LC. By the way, that's why I'm wearing this, because they wanted me to, you know, give them a shout out or
He's
something.
Wearing beads, exactly.
I had to wear beads, you know. I can't. Ironically, on Ash Wednesday, I put ashes on my head and beads on my chest, you know.
But they're purple, so that goes for
They're purple. It goes right with the theme of the season. Yeah,
definitely.
But I mean, I was talking, you know, you talked to the gospel about the gospel of Jesus this morning and the whole idea of repentance, and Jesus never gave any trigger warnings. I don't recall reading the gospels where he said, now prepare yourselves what I'm going to say. I mean, he just laid it right out there for them. So my own opinion is that they can be detrimental to our growth, and especially to the younger generation. Yes, we have to, I think, help them, those who have gone through those traumas, help them. And they seem to be beneficial in terms of, not beneficial, and what's the word I want to use? That people feel respected when we use them. They say, at least you're thinking about my sensitivities, my emotions, and that may be beneficial. But by and large, to have to preface everything with a trigger warning, a content warning, doesn't appear to me to be all that helpful. I'm not sure what your experience has been.
Well, it's a very interesting topic. I mean, I never really thought about it much. I mean, usually when they say, be careful, you might not appreciate this video, I'm like, I'm watching. But I mean, I understand though, respecting people, and especially for mental health and things, that it can be helpful to have a trigger warning. So it's a fine balance.
I wonder how many parents use trigger warnings with their kids.
That'd be a good question. Thanks for bringing up that topic. Thanks, Father. All right, don't go away. Need Edition continues in a moment.